wonder any of us would be on the dais. So thank you, and really feel very happy to share this evening. The subject which the organizers have brought to the fore is definitely of a common interest, not nationally, but even globally. Therefore, I must compliment both of you and everybody connected in your team for having organized such a world conference. And I also thank you for giving me an opportunity of sharing some of my thoughts. First of all, I have a very simple way of looking at the environment. We make it sound like a subject of, technology, scientific dimensions. We make it look like, that it's a subject out of the brains of the ordinary man. But we forget the fundamentals of environment, as Mr. Mehta just now mentioned. It's air, water, and food. So whether you are a professor, whether you're a doctor, you're a judge, you are a lawyer, you are a layman, you are a farmer, you are a beggar, all of you need this, and possibly in its cleanest form. If that be so, the first dimension to the environmental attitude should be simplicity. I would request all of you to look at how rich are we, India as a nation, on environmental heritage. If we see our ancestrals, how they used to live, you will find that nature was an integral part of our day-to-day life. It was nothing like scientific, you need technologies, you need dimensions of a different nature. No. It was something which was day-to-day life of the people living in the villages, in the cities. If you really think with a little cool mind, there was not even a single component of nature which we do not use to worship. Whether it was trees, whether it was rivers, whether it was mountains, whether it was clouds, whether it was living, whether it was surrounding bushes, everything was being worshipped because they were integral part of our day-to-day life, and maintaining them to a proper form was necessary for our existence. That is why it is said that nature does not need you, you need nature. And if you tinkle with nature beyond a point and you fiddle with it to an irretrievable manner, nature will slap you back. And when it slaps you back, then human faces vanish, they don't remain. You talk of Uttarakhand, you talk of Jharkhand, you talk of Simla, you talk of world glaciers, you talk of Japan, you talk any part of the world. Whenever the nature has retaliated to excessive intervention, the results have been disastrous. Therefore, what you need to do is the law. We must compliment our parliament for having enacted the laws which were very aggressive as far as environmental approach was concerned. 3 doctrines of law, that is sustainability, precautionary principle and polluter pays principle, have been introduced as a matter of law in our environmental jurisprudence. Why? Across the globe, these are the three principles which are applied for protection of environment. So what we really need to do is that keep normal things as part of our day-to-day life rather than making environment as a techno-scientific subject beyond the approach of a common man's mind. That is the first thing I would request this August gathering to consider. Second aspect is, which my predecessor have just spoken, is the comparative duty and obligation of ours towards the nature or towards the environment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you know it at least, but if you don't know, I'll be too happy to inform you that our constitution is the only constitution in the world which places environment protection at a constitutional level in all facets of living. In law, the Supreme Court had laid down the golden triangle of fundamental rights. That has been the historic judgments of the Supreme Court. But we found that there was a golden environmental triangle in our Constitution, which really speaks volumes that our Parliament did understand what our heritage was and made it obligatory on the people to continue. You have directive principles where the government is expected to protect environment, rivers, natural sources, everything, and even the animals concerned there too. Then comes the constitutional duties. Each one of us sitting here has a constitutional duty to protect the environment, keep it clean for the benefit of all. Then the Supreme Court extended Article 21 of the Constitution, right to life, and said that right to decent and clean environment was a right to life included in Article 21. Look at the dimensions we have given. You can't have a better law anywhere in the world. And with some sense of responsibility, I assure this that no, at least I've spoken around about in 100 countries by now, no country in the world has a constitutional framework of environmental jurisprudence protection at this hierarchy of the Constitution. So that is our heritage. Where are we loitering around and where we have got lost all the ways of sensibility is a different way. You just heard a lot of things from Mr. Mehta. And everybody is showing concern. Mr. Sharma has shown his concern. And I am really impressed with all the speakers, Mr. Vallabhbhai, Mr. Sharma, then Mr. Hon'ble. Everybody has spoken so well on the concerns of environment. And when we want to see in this framework of talks, we have to work it out. First thing, another thing you will have to do is change the mindset. Our thinking must change. We always think, okay, waste management plant can't be not in my backyard. It has to be somewhere. It has to be pollution free, no doubt. It has to be good. It must look like a garden. But then the plant has to be established. Now, for example, please kindly see, we are generating around about 1,642 metric tons of waste every day. Where do you want it to go? Yamuna-ji, you have already converted into a big drain, as you just heard, right? Land we don't have, and we got the distinction in the world probably, I think, not unlike our good players getting a gold medal in Olympics. We got the symbol of saying that we killed people under the dumps. When this dump at the Chandigarh turn came down, cars and people died. So we are talking, what are we talking about today? We need to think very seriously how to manage it. Truly so, you can start segregating, managing waste right in your house. You must change that mindset and bring it to a level where you contribute yourself for proper management, disposal, and utilization or reutilization of the generated waste by your own house. Why not? That's your duty. But I don't want to do that. I will say, I will throw the waste, you clean it. So that's the approach we have. We need to change it. We have to collectively work together and change it very seriously and sincerely. Now we can also see, that you received. Are we doing that? I'm sure when all of you, at least first 5-7 rows, when you were going to school and colleges, you didn't have to put masks on your face. Today your children are going to school, the toddlers, and they wear masks. God knows what masks are going to do to those children. They will become a source of infection by themselves. Rather than protecting, they would be probably spoiling their upper respiratory tracts because of the congestion that will be caused in them and the infections that will be caused in them. So that is what we are giving to our children. While we breathed clean air when we were young going to schools, I never heard that you prevented your children from playing in the grounds. Now you tell, oh, my child will not go. What he does, keeps on watching the TV the whole day, the phone the whole day, no physical activity, no growth, no mental freedom. There is restrictions, and then you don't know that the ambient air quality inside your house may be worse than what it is outside. So we are into a very serious issue today. We need to sort of get together. If we want to say what Gandhiji, he first did everything himself before he told you to do. He cleaned the bathrooms himself. He cleaned the drains himself. He cleaned the waste himself first before he asked people to come with him and walk on the path of cleanliness, which we are unable to do. So one of the best things we can do is to introduce environmental consciousness and environmental worthiness at the educational level of all. That means right from the second, third standards, people should get, the children should get environmental conscience. And I'm very happy to say that today, the school children are more concerned with environment than probably all of us sitting here. They have that awareness, they are thinking of something like that. I saw with my own eyes, that a father throwing a kind of that wafer waste outside and the child telling his father, pick it up or I pick it up. And like a good father, he picks up, he doesn't let his son pick up. So there we have some cultural weaknesses. If our younger generation gets through the environmental consciousness, I think we will reach very differently. We are a very rich and a very good country as far as environmental is concerned. I don't think we need to learn from US or UK or from France as to what we should do about our environment. If we just open our books, they have told you everything. I happen to, this incident, I'm sure if people heard me earlier, I share it anywhere and everywhere, wherever I go, whether people abroad also understand or don't. But I do speak this, and I would definitely tell you, if you go to the Mahalakshmi temple in Chennai, so when I was the chairman NGT, they took me there, and when I went to the temple, not they took me, and then the manager of the trust, he told me that you would like to see something. I said, what do you want me to see? So I thought he's going to show me something, connected with the worshipping or, how to behave yourself in a tunnel, though I didn't behave badly in the temple at all, but I thought maybe he has something more to suggest to me. But then he took me to the wall of the temple outside. It's a huge temple, and God, it's gracious of the goddess that you can see her. So we went to the temple on the wall, in the wall of the temple, they have a double wall. In the temple, they have 2 chakras, Ritu Chakra, Vayu Chakra, and Prithvi Chakra. All these chakras give you everything about the environment. And this was drawn 700 years back. It talks of 7 layers, 3 above the sea, 3 below the sea, and sea being the level first. So 7 layers which you heard, which normally say Patel we talk about. So it tells you how to maintain underground water, groundwater, aquatic life. You know, how will you prevent ozone layer? How will you protect green gases? How will you convert all other ill effluents to protect? So, you know, 700 years back, they talked about green gases. And today when somebody from abroad talks of it, we say, oh, green gas, green gas. But we don't understand that. We know it already. We know it. We know how to do it. But we need to get together and do it. So I think one thing very clear. I'm sure I did thank you, but I'm sure you're not going to thank me if I keep on talking indefinitely. So I feel that I think I've taken 15 minutes, I suppose.
More time.
Okay, I'll just take 1 or 2 minutes more because because I do know how difficult it is to listen the whole day. So I wouldn't take advantage of your, no chief guest business. I think we should, I would just conclude by requesting this August gathering. Please, whether you belong to an institution, you belong to a family, you belong to a school, you belong to a, and I'm very happy that, vice chancellors, we have Mr. Markande, everybody, I think, I'm very impressed with the kind of people who have come here to, talk about the environment. So go and spread the right messages. Spreading message is the most important thing for environmental protection. And we badly need to protect our environment. We are in a very unhealthy environment. Any hospital you go, anywhere you find people getting sick because of environmental pollution. It's no need of repeating it 100 times that we have a bad air, bad water, bad food. Now, see. We just were talking to the Vice Chancellor, we treat, food adulteration as a casual offense, which is tragic, I think, in this country. How can you ever permit food adulteration less than a murder? In a murder, you just go and kill somebody, fair enough. You know that you have killed him, you know the cause why you have killed him. But if you are polluting the food, the medicines, the spurious medicines you are giving people to eat, that means you are killing thousands and thousands of people by your indirect act. I know, I saw that a long time back. There was a chap who was preparing the milk in the washing machine. So it was shown on the TV, it was shown everywhere, but I don't know what happened to it. I think that chap must be enjoying himself. But what happened to the people who have taken that milk for months together and young children? So there should be no excuse, no pardon for this class of people who make others suffer for their personal benefits. So your personal benefit must not be permitted to overrule the society as a whole. So I would only say one thing, that today, environment is like music. It has no defining limitations or limits. You can't say that I will pollute the air and it will not affect people in other countries. Or the other countries would pollute the rivers and they will not affect India. Today, I forget the exact figure, but I think it was 18 million pounds of plastic being put to sea every year. That is what we are doing. Eat, throw. It'll go. And sea level is changing. Now when the countries will go under the sea, then we will realize what plastic can do. It takes 20 years to dismantle or sort of convert it into pieces, Then it becomes part of your food chain. Then the fish you eat has already plastic in it. You eat band gobi, that has plastic in it, which you don't know it has. So please kindly think and create simple solutions understandable by simple people. You have to live in a locality, but think of the city you live in. And to say it truly, you may and you have to live nationally, but you have to think globally if you want to survive. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir.